Hey everyone, welcome back to the Low Buy Life. I am Leslie and I am so excited to be able to make today's video because it means I've hit a huge milestone. I officially have $10,000 saved in my savings account. So I have a solid emergency fund saved, and this was not the case just a year ago when my savings account was completely wiped out and set at zero because of a car accident that I had that wasn't covered by insurance. So I set a goal to get to $10,000 in my savings account, and I finally made it. I am so excited. So I'm going to share with you exactly how I did that and some ways that you can do the same because $10,000 saved is just, it covers basically anything. I mean, I'm sure there are some outliers, but for the most part, any kind of car emergency, a lot of medical emergencies, just anything that could come up, you have a really solid safety net there to help you out. So I know that $10,000 is a pretty good chunk of change, and not everyone can aspire to have to save $10,000 in a year, which is totally fine. But the thing that I want to motivate you to do in this video is just to save something. So if you follow even one of these tips, you will be on the right track to save a nice safety net for yourself. So I did all of this despite having, like I said, the car emergency. I actually had two car accidents last year. 2025 was not a good year. I also had two vet emergencies, and I did not increase my income much, if any, at all. I think it was basically the same as 2024. So you can do this just moving around some of the money you have and just changing some of your habits. So I have 7 tips, or I guess 6 plus a bonus. So basically 7 tips to help you out here. Number one is to get serious about your budget. So the very first thing you need to do is start looking at where your money is going. This is the only way to know exactly where you need to cut expenses and where you have a little bit of room to save some money. So I have my notes here if I keep looking down, but the things you want to look for are expenses that are very easy to cut, or at least the simple ones. So things like subscriptions you don't use. I mean, that is just wasted money. So that's a pretty simple one to cut. Another would be convenience fees, or any kind of spending you're doing for convenience. Maybe take that extra time to do something yourself and save yourself a little bit of extra money. So maybe instead of like door dashing your food, you actually go to the grocery store and pick something out. Or even if you choose to go out to eat, just maybe you go and pick it up yourself and just avoid some of these extra fees and convenience spending. The next one along those same lines is going to be impulse purchases. So you want to make sure you're avoiding impulse purchases as well. There are several different ways that you can do this. I mean, one of the easiest ones for me, especially with grocery spending, is that I order online through the app and then I go pick it up. So I'm not even going into the store. So that completely takes away that impulse purchase. Because for one, I can look at everything that I've added to my list before I send it through. So if there's some weird stuff on there or something that maybe sounded good as I was making my list, I can go ahead and just take it off there and just avoid those extra impulse purchases. Similarly, if you are bad about online shopping, you can always go ahead and add stuff to your cart or to a wish list and just leave it there. Don't complete your purchase. I do this on Amazon a lot where I might see something that I want, or I might think that I need it, and then I'll add it to my cart, and then I'll just leave it and sit with it for a while, sit with it for a few days, a week, just whenever I happen to look at my cart again. And then almost always, it's very often that I don't buy it. And with stuff like Amazon, you can always do a save to later. And I do this with, I think, Target as well with their app. So if there's something that you're still kind of on the fence about, just save it for later and see if you actually come back to it, because you might be surprised at how often you don't even come back to it. Number two, if there was one on this list that I would recommend for everyone, I mean, they're all good, but number two in particular is one of the most important, and that is to automate your savings. So do an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account. This is something that you don't have to manually do. You might not even really see it. If depending on the amount, you might not even notice it's gone. So set some kind of automatic withdrawal from your checking account to your savings account. For me, this has kind of changed over the years. A long time ago, when I wasn't making very much money, I literally only saved $5 a week, which obviously isn't much at all. But at the end of the year, you have like 250 extra dollars in your savings account that you wouldn't have otherwise had. That, if I did the math right, 250 sounds right. But either way, no matter what it is, even if it's literally $2. Just put something away that is automatic into your savings account. Even right now, I don't do a whole lot for the automatic transfer. I think I do $20 a week, and then anything left over, I just go ahead and manually transfer the rest. But doing $20 a week just makes it to where I make sure I'm not having money sitting in my checking account, because my checking account, like most of you probably, it doesn't accrue any interest, or if it does, it's such a small amount that I don't notice. So I have it transferred into my savings account. And similar to this, when you are choosing a savings account, you want to make sure you get a high yield savings account. So that is an account that's going to have a pretty decent interest rate. I use Ally Bank. I do have a link for them below if you're looking for a decent savings account. I think the interest rate is it's just below 4%. When I signed up, it was 4, and it dropped a little bit, which sucks, but maybe it'll come back up again. But if you do sign up for Ally, you get like $100 bonus for signing up. So that's something that's really good to do if you don't have something already. There are some other ones out there, but I know Ally is usually at the top of the list for banks that are a little bit more well known. I looked at a list recently, and there were a lot of banks that I just wasn't familiar with, so I didn't think it was worth switching. But you can always look into that as well. So, number three is avoid lifestyle creep once you start making more money. So, this is something, a trap that a lot of people fall into. I would say it's one of the most common reasons that people tend to fall into debt. It's that as you make more money, you start spending more money, and just your general idea of things like housing and cars and that sort of thing, all of that inflates as your income goes up. So if you can avoid that lifestyle creep, you can save a lot of money. So for example, my husband, he last year he got a new job, and he got a pretty nice pay bonus when he got to his new job. So he's making more money than he did. But our apartment's the same, our cars are the same. We are keeping everything the same and just using that extra money to go towards saving and investing and things like that. So this is a great way to save some extra money without even noticing it, because all you're doing is just keeping your current lifestyle as it is instead of just adding more to it. So that is something I highly recommend and always a good idea. I know sometimes it can be hard, especially if you're prone to comparing yourself to other people. And I actually do have a video on this that I made about not fitting in and having different ideas of money and living and things, and how it can kind of separate you sometimes from other people. So definitely check that out if that's something that you struggle with, or you're more curious about some commentary on that. But it's really important to not compare yourself to others. Try not to keep up with the Joneses, because honestly, a lot of people don't care that much. And if they do, I mean, why does it matter anyway? It's your life, it's your money. Just try not to pay attention to what other people are thinking. And then another tip for that would be not to chase trends. So whatever is trendy, if it comes in fast, it's going to go out fast. So just don't even bother paying attention to trends. Just ignore that and keep your money. Number four is to put unexpected money into your savings account. So if you get some money for Christmas, for a birthday, you get a bonus at work, some overtime, just any extra money you have, put it in your savings account. This is probably the big secret to how I was able to save so much throughout the year, because I did get some extra money throughout the year. My husband and I, we actually just got married last year, even though we've been together for like 9 years, but we finally just went ahead and got married. And my parents did give us a nice little wedding gift, gave us a little extra money. So that was a nice boost. I got a little bit of money from work for getting married. I get kind of random bonuses at work sometimes. And then like my mom still writes me a little birthday check, just a little bit of money. And so any of that stuff I directly added to my savings account. And then another thing with that is that you will start earning interest on your savings account. So that make sure you keep your interest payments in your savings account. So with mine having $10,000, I think I get like, I want to say $25 a month or so in interest, which like isn't a crazy amount. But considering I save $20 a week, it's like having an extra week in the month where I'm saving. So that's pretty cool. But that's something that also needs to stay in your savings account. Number five is to pick up a side hustle specifically for saving. So whatever it is that you can do, if you have the time to, maybe something like DoorDash or Instacart or Uber or whatever. I mean, I guess Uber itself is a little bit, it's more of like an actual job than a side hustle for a lot of people. But anything like that would be great. You can always start doing something like how I sell on Etsy. That's where I get a lot of my money for my savings account. Anything I make on Etsy, I just put directly into savings. It's, to be honest, I don't make a whole lot on Etsy anymore. I want to say it's like, I don't know, like 2,000 a year, 2,500 a year probably on Etsy. So it's not like a huge amount of money, but that is a nice chunk to put into your savings account. And then if you don't really have the time to do that, you could always look into overtime at work. If that's something that you're able to do, that's a nice way to get a little extra money here and there, like an extra 50 bucks a week or whatever you're able to do. Number six, and this is what I started out with last year, is start with a low buy or a no buy. With my channel name, The Low Buy Life, I started my low buy life almost exactly a year ago, around when I started this channel. So doing a no buy to kick things off, or just a low buy the way I do, that can really help you get some extra money. I will say, when I started the year off last year, I did an official no buy for January. I did a I didn't call it specifically a no buy for February, but it was pretty close. And it wasn't until March where it moved into like definitely a low buy rather than no buy. But having just those couple of extra months to save money, like, it made such a huge difference. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. If you are someone who spends a lot and you're nervous about doing like a whole month, just do a week or even just a day, or a couple days, maybe a weekend, something. Just set whatever goal is reasonable for you, and whatever money you're able to save during that time, you're able to put into savings. So that's a really nice way to kick things off. And then my bonus tip, which I didn't know if it really fit into this list because it's actually about spending money rather than saving money, but that is, don't take away all of your fun money. So make sure you have a little bit of money to do stuff that you like so that you don't end up overspending. Because much like if you are on a diet and you're restricting everything you eat, and then you feel so deprived that you end up like eating way too much later because you've deprived yourself for so long, that is not something you want to do with your money either, or your food. So if you are able to allow yourself to spend a little bit of money here and there, it can really help with that feeling of not feeling deprived. So last year when I was doing my budget with me, I kind of got down on myself for not being able to spend like $0 on hobbies. But looking back, hobbies are something that bring me a lot of joy. So having like an extra $100 average a month, or $50 a month here or there to spend on hobbies is something that really helps me be able to save more in general, because for one, it gives me something to do, and also I don't feel so deprived. So definitely make sure that you are able to still have a little bit of fun and still spend a little money. Maybe it's something like going out to eat once a month, or just whatever it is that really resonates with you. So what are my recommendations for you, like concrete things that you can take away from this video? So the first thing I would say is to automate something into your savings account. Even if it's only $5 or $2, or maybe you can do 10 or 20. You might even be able to do like 50 or 100. I don't, whatever your situation is. Just automate something into your savings account so that you build that habit. Also, try to cancel one subscription. So if you're someone who has a lot of subscriptions, maybe you have like several TV subscriptions, plus Audible, plus YouTube, plus all this stuff, just try to get rid of one, or at the very least, see which ones you're actually using and which ones you aren't. So even if you don't get rid of a subscription, just reevaluate which ones you're actually using and make sure you are using them. And if you are extra motivated, try doing a no buy month, or a low buy, or a no buy week. Just try doing one of those little challenges to kick off your savings journey and to kind of jumpstart what you have in your savings account. Because if you can get a decent amount going in there, it can be really motivational to see what you're saving. Because I know once I was able to get up to like just over like 2,000 or so, like I really started to feel that momentum. I'm like, wow, I have $2,000 already. Like I'm actually building some money here, and my hard work is paying off. So if you can kind of do what you can to bump up that number as much as you can, as fast as you can, it can really be motivating. And also, if you do have motivation to be saving, you might as well just jump on it while you have that motivation. And then remember that progress always beats perfection. So you don't have to be perfect about it. I mean, there might be a time where you have to take some money out of savings. I have definitely done that over the year, especially with some of the emergencies that popped up. Like my cat Pixel, she recently went to the vet. She had a vet emergency a few months ago, And so I had to take a little bit of money out of savings, not too much, but I did have to pull from savings. So stuff like that does happen. I mean, it is your emergency money. So if you have an emergency, it's quite possible that you will have to pull from your emergency fund. So don't let that discourage you, and just jump back into saving if that's something that happens to you. So if you do want more recommendations as far as like saving money and cutting expenses, I do have a video about practical ways to cut expenses. So I will link that below. I highly recommend checking that out. I have one on groceries as well. I have several videos about helping you to live more frugally and cut your expenses if you want to check those out. So let me know in the comments, what is the hardest part about saving money for you? I think for me, one of the hardest things is not touching the money once it is in my savings account, because I know I struggled with that before when I've tried to save. I just always end up going in there and taking the money back out, even if it's not an emergency. So that's something I struggle with, and maybe something to watch for. Let me know what it is you struggle with when it comes to saving money. And make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.